one would wonder why a baseball diamond.
Yeah.
And then I found a description of where and how baseball originated. There was a book in England in 1828 that had the first description of what is considered to be baseball. A year later, that was printed in an American city, in Boston.
Oh wow. That's cool. All right.
And uh,
Well, here, do you want to just let me I'm going to post while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to put the just get the copy the invite link so that I have it. Do you want to just go live and talk about it?
sure.
Okay, cool. I don't know why I'm trying to like make myself look better. It's not going to work. Let's see. We'll just call it free for all.
You have a nice warm light over there. I have a cold light.
Dude, if you saw my light setup, it's crazy. Like I get a little too nuts with this stuff. We're going live now. Like
I see a very big difference in how do you call it? Image quality.
yeah, well, like I have a actual camera running to like a streaming like it's crazy. Rachel hates it because I spend like way too much money on this stuff.
Okay, I can imagine.
I mean, I've got a light here, a light here, a light here, the camera here. Like it's nuts. Like even my headphones are like, but I don't know if it's like this where you're at. Here we've got so many like in St. Augustine we've got so many like thrift stores and secondhand stores that most of this stuff you can just find if you're patient cheap. Like I my lights
Okay.
are like $300 lights, but I picked them up for 20 bucks. You know?
Okay. That's good. That's a good deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys do they have thrift stores overseas? Is that like a thing? Do you even know what that is?
Um, I think something comparable, yes. Whether we call it, I don't know if there's a literal translation of thrift, but
Like
it's
a
yes,
like a
second
consign.
hand
Yeah, just like
shops.
that.
Sure, yeah, we have those. Yeah,
Those are
and
fun.
I made a film, several actually, underwater films with friends who also try to get all kinds of stuff together that way. And the internet works as a thrift store also.
My son just commented, "Man, this is a great podcast." My son is
What is
watching this. Hi, Jason. So wait, did you say you filmed underwater like videos?
I didn't, but I work with a team of about 10 to 12 people,
Yeah.
and several of them can film underwater.
Wow.
And the film that we made, it was a three-quarters of an hour film that was launched at the Wildlife Film Festival in Rotterdam,
Yeah.
which is the big thing over here. Um, he had a 2K camera, so 2000 dots.
Yeah.
You know that, but people
Yeah. Yeah.
listening may not. And now he's upped that to a 4K camera. So he has sort of twice the quality that's currently in cinemas.
Nice. Does he? So like, I'm always curious, especially people who aren't in America. Like, do you know what he uses to film? Does he have like red cameras, like the $30,000 cameras, or is he just? Because I'm finding a lot of people who make, especially documentaries, are just using like Canons. You know, they're just using like Canon
I
Rebels or
don't know
whatever.
the details specifically, but he 30,000. I don't think so, but it's more than 10,000 that I
Yeah,
do know.
it's probably like a red camera, especially if he's shooting in 4K, like a Black Magic or a red. Like, I got really into all of this stuff, and I learned way more than I need to know about cameras.
Well, knowledge is always good.
I guess it
I
doesn't.
mean, I noticed the difference in quality, so you've got a good setup over there.
Yeah. Well, it still looks kind of crap, but you know, it's
Yeah,
better than nothing. I
yeah.
want a better camera. I got like a Sony A5100. It's like a $300 camera. Like we bought it used for 300 bucks. It doesn't do
Okay.
4K. It does like 1080 60. But I'd rather have like an upgrade to that, but it can wait. Rachel will kill me if I go out and spend more money.
Well, the problem with 4K is that you need to have computer stuff to edit 4K as well.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd, dude. I've got like a Ryzen, is it Ryzen 9, something like 32 gigs of RAM and a 3080. So I'm good. The video card 3080. I'm good with the editing. At least specs. Like I'm not good skill wise, but
Well, I've seen the intros. I don't know how you make those, but those look good.
oh yeah, that's all like After Effects. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
it's like I guess it's like an art. Like once you figure it out, it looks impressive. Like painting, like Palancar's paintings. It
Yeah.
looks impressive if you don't know what he's doing, but to him, it's just like I do this shit all day. You know?
Yeah, but anybody who knows something very well can say that.
Yeah, and that's I guess that's the thing. And
Yeah.
he'll do that too. It's weird. He's like, it's not my best work. Like, what are you talking about? It won an award.
Well, a piece of art is never finished.
That's true.
That's the thing. It's oh, I should have done this, or if I had done it again, I would have done this.
Yeah. I
I
asked.
have one question.
Yeah,
I saw one of the photos of you have his sketch of the castle hat.
I have two.
You have two.
Yeah.
But you had one, and then below it is a what looks like a drawing of the Saint Augustine Day.
Yeah, let me show you. It's not a drawing. It didn't come from Palancar at all.
Oh, okay.
It was a Christmas present from Chris Preacher. I have this friend. Her name's Kat Saturn, and she does image burning. And
Oh,
he just gave her he gave her the St. Augustine image, and he's like, it better be perfect because he knows this image really well. And
got it.
she burned this, and it's like I love it. She
Yeah, that's nice.
she's really into puzzles. In fact, Brett and I, she became friends with Brett and I when we were working on a puzzle before The Secret, and she does those kind of things, but they're all based on puzzles. So she has a big burn. I don't know what they're called, a burning drawing or whatever of Cicada and Austin Cyber. All these really popular underground puzzles. It's a whole series. It's really nice. You'd probably like it. I'll send you a link.
Okay, yeah. I thought that was an early drawing, so I sort of
No,
enlarged the photo.
I'm
And
not that lucky.
is this an early sketch? What is he drawing here?
No, I'm not that lucky. But did you see the Nymphomane? I guess I'm that lucky.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Let me say this. Uh, is did you find that at the spot you mentioned Friday?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hello.
So it's not mine. It's currently not mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Currently, interesting.
currently not mine. But it's like a collector owns it. That's like it's a couple of towns over, and I had no idea. Like I drive. Evie's coming in twice. I drive by this person's house like once a week. Evie's
With
in,
stereo.
yeah. Evie's in twice. She's in 3D. If you get the Oculus, just
Yeah.
let me see if I can ban an Evie.
Here, how's that? Is that better?
Yep.
Uh, let's see. Can I ban an Evie? Yes, I can. I'm gonna ban you once. The one that doesn't have audio.
Just once.
There you go.
You don't want to hear what
I
I
don't
say
wanna
anyway, so you're better off having me muted.
Oh, can we test something? I set up backgrounds for like multiple Zoom guests, so I'm gonna test this real quick and see if it works.
Okay.
You gave me an option a second ago to change my backgrounds.
It works, kind of. You won't be able to see it. It's on stream.
Oh.
It only kind of works. It's not
Should I
lined up
put
properly.
open the stream without sound or something?
If you want to, if you want to see it.
Let me see where that
Found
is.
it where? Kathy, I know this is gonna piss a lot of people off, but I really can't say how I found that sculpture, and I
Oh,
really
okay.
can't say where it is.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I said I'll be cryptic.
yeah, yeah. I really can't say where I found it, and I can't say where it is.
I
A
understand.
very, very nice collector owns it currently.
I thought it was cool that the green on it matched the walls behind you wherever it was that you were.
Oh,
It's very color coordinated.
that house, that thing's in has just art for days. I could spend forever just looking at, because I was only focused on that one thing, but I could spend forever just checking out the stuff on those walls.
Was the person aware that it was from The Secret?
No.
Oh.
It was so there was a doll convention in New York I want to say like I think she said it was 1999, early 2000, somewhere like that, and she got it directly from Joellen there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, you said she.
yeah.
Pretty.
They.
This is Saint Augustine. That means many things here.
It's like with ships. All ships are female.
Yes,
A lot
all
of
ships
people
are.
don't know that, but all ships, even if they have a male name, the ship is female.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you guys do like Arthur? Where you're at? Do you? No, cause Jesus Christ, you're in the Netherlands. I always
Yes.
yeah.
I've been there.
So for you, Germany, England, Belgium, uh, Denmark.
Thank you. Because like I was educated in the United States, and I have no idea.
You
I
have
could,
France, Belgium, and the Netherlands.
like I can tell you where Alabama is, but once we get out of the states, I have no idea.
Well, I don't know how Asia is put together entirely. So
Oh look, Chris is waving hi. I'm gonna post the link again because
Yeah, I actually went. I was pregnant with my twins, like 14 weeks pregnant, when I got sent over to the Netherlands for work for like 2 weeks, and it was when you could still smoke in the offices and stuff.
okay.
so
And when we eat
Do
something,
you
but they couldn't
remember
tell
which
me what it
city?
was. Hmm.
Do you remember which city?
Freienbach?
Who? Why?
Freienbach?
Bayenbach?
My twins are almost 19. I was 14 weeks when this happened,
Ah,
so
I
it's
don't,
fun.
I don't. From the sound, I can't figure out what city it would be. No.
It's Dow Chemical, Dow Automotive.
So
I
there was a
have to look.
question in chat, and this is the best question anyone could ask because it's gonna be so helpful. I
Yeah.
think someone's at my door. Is someone at my door? What's up?
Yes.
I was here to bring you some water just in case you got thirsty.
Thanks, bud. I saw you were watching the chat. You enjoy. Have fun.
All right, have a
You
good
can be
day.
you can be my cheerleader. Have a good day, bud.
You have room
Thanks.
service.
Yeah, I have room service. So, someone in chat asked who everybody was because you can't see their names. My name is George. Just below me is Evie, and then that is Arthur. Arthur, how do you pronounce your last name?
Scheiden. But you can call me Sky D.
Skydee.
You know, Sky A, B, C, Sky D. That's fine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it.
It's a
That's why it says Skydee on all your drawings.
yes,
Okay, that makes
because it's
sense.
simple.
Yeah.
And then in the copyright it says Scheiden.
Nice.
I've lived in Nevada for a year in 94, 95. I
Oh,
was a foreign exchange student. And there were three people over there while I was living there who could pronounce it. One was Jewish, who knew Hebrew. It has the guttural sound.
yeah.
One was a student at the university, and one person was a speech therapist. So it's difficult.
Gotcha. So I have to ask Arthur. There's I got a question, and that's leading up to another question.
Okay.
You're in the Netherlands. Why do you care at all about the secret? Like you
Because I've
can't.
lived in America.
Is that why? Because you can't just like you can't go and dig one of these up. But you seem to be one of the members of the community that's the most open and the most willing to talk, willing to chat, willing to share your ideas. But you
Sure.
don't have a chance in hell of digging one of these up because you're on the other side of the globe.
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of searching with Rebecca, who's in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And when we sort of have an idea of, hey, maybe this is something in this city, we try to contact somebody local. And if they are willing to take a look at the spot, we have the agreement that the person who digs gets to keep whatever they want. And then I would like it if Rebecca gets something other of what is found.
Yeah.
I'm just in it for the experience.
Nice. That's actually a good arrangement to have. Like whoever
Yeah.
digs it up can have whatever piece they want, divvy up the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you? Because we're doing this local experts thing. Would you recommend Rebecca for the local experts? Because we need a Montreal person and she's local. But I haven't done a whole lot with her. She asked if she could be the
Yes, she
Montreal
could
person.
be it.
Yeah.
Oh, I would let her.
Okay.
Of
if
all the people in the whole community,
I'm not mistaken, yeah, she asked if she could be
I'm
one from
very lucky
Montreal.
to be able to work with her because I think she's one of the cleverest people out here.
Okay, all right. Well,
You
then
may not think that because she considers many different ideas because I think that's the clever part,
yeah,
considering many options.
yeah. Like you don't have to buy every look. Like that's what we need for people in the cities. Like
Yep.
for the
Oh,
longest
she's very
time,
good for that.
it was people like Matt who was like, "Yeah, I'll check your spot, but I don't, I don't believe your ideas." But I think it's good now since we have so many people with so many different ideas to have somebody that can consider, right?
Yeah.
That you can get on your side a little bit. So that's good. Let me double check and make sure it was her
Okay.
that asked. I'm almost positive it was though.
There are already people who asked her to have a look at a certain square if she's in the city, but uh, it's snowing a lot over there.
Yeah.
It's still snowing this month.
Yeah, it was Rebecca. Yeah, so um,
Oh, I would let her.
I will
Yeah,
100% add her then
sure.
on the recommendation of Arthur. And then if she's bad, I'll blame you.
Sure, no problem. I'm vouching for her. Yeah.
So, in addition to like just being in this for the sort of the joy of the hunt and for the teamwork and the friends, what caused you to take like artistic inspiration from it? Because you've created some of the most amazing things. Like you create. I put the leg eater. For the longest time when you were sending stuff around, I showed John Palancar a couple of your things, and he was
Yeah.
just like, whatever. And then later on, when I sat in front of him, I put a leg eater in front of him, and he was like, "I was having a bad day. This is amazing." And like
Okay.
he requested things. Like I've got a box. Just about everything you've sent me is going
Yeah.
to him.
Okay.
So you're not sharing, George. You're hoarding it all.
Well, I share with I share, dude.
No, he
You
shares.
share.
No, I know he shares, especially with this one.
Yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
gonna.
I've been making more things. I don't know if I should show you now. I wanted to keep that for later in the
Yeah.
year.
I mean, that's fine. Yeah.
But
In the year?
I'll show you. Yeah, I mean, in November it's 40 years, right?
Oh, that thing.
I'll show you two things.
George, I'm sad you did not notice my Buzz Lightyear goggles.
Oh, they're very awesome.
I did some more unpacking last night.
I don't have any cool goggles. I have glasses. They're not cool though.
The best part was the big multiple wolf spiders that also came out of the box. And
I should bring
the cats did not kill them for me. But that's about it.
Jeffrey wants to know what the subject is tonight. There is no subject. It's
There's
a
no
free call.
subject.
Yeah, you can if you want to come in, you can. Okay, sorry. Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It's one of those flat backside,
Yeah.
sculpted front,
Can
so I can easily make more without there being a lot of bubbles in the material.
yeah.
And I painted one of those.
What is that made out of?
Resin. So I make it from clay, polymer clay that you have to bake in the oven,
Okay.
and then I make a mold. The leg eater had a very complex mold because it had two big sides that you had to put
Right.
together with tunnels for air and stuff. But because this has a flat background or back, you can just pour it like in a cup, only the cup has a shape. And then I took one of these and tried to do what Palancar did, but that's difficult.
That's really cool.
That's his favorite secret painting, and it
Yeah,
sucks because
Castle.
it was stolen from him, which sucks. But
Stolen.
yeah, I don't.
Oh, I know he didn't have it, but I didn't know
Okay,
it was-
so let me for legal
Okay, there's a story.
for legal reasons. Let me say
Okay.
it was not stolen. It was
Okay.
not stolen. That was a mistake. I should not have said stolen. It is at someone's house who does not have permission from Palancar to have it, and it was transferred there in questionable ways. John lent Castle Hat to Byron, and Byron kept it in his office, and then Byron's business was closed down, and all of his stuff was liquidated, and the
I know who you
painting
mean.
went with it. So for a long time, John assumed that Sandy had it, and we found out where it is, and John asked for it back, and was like, no.
Okay.
So, okay. So for legal reasons, he didn't say no. He just ignored the conversation after that request.
So, but if that person who likes that painting very much would like to have access to more of them, John is just going to ignore it.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. Like that whenever anybody says like just create a new book with high res images, there's one of your big problems with one of the people involved, and everybody involved has one of those problems. Like it's going to be a pain to work out.
But he's technically the owner of the paintings that he has in his hand, though, right?
John is the owner of all the paintings.
Well,
I
except the one that the person won't give back.
Well, he's still the owner of that painting.
Yeah.
He just
I know
doesn't
he
have it.
owns the painting.
We should go get
in
it.
interviews, he indicated that he relinquished intellectual property rights.
Yeah, so he had a janky contract where he can't work on anything even related to a treasure hunt ever. Again.
Seriously?
Yeah, like it was his first right outside of college New York job, like big project, and he signed a contract that he was like, I would never sign ever again. It locked him down to so many things. I think he was just lucky to retain physical rights to the painting, but he can't reproduce them, he can't display them, as far as I know. The displaying part he might be able to do, but
because they're able to for the Expedition Unknown got a waiver.
Well, I don't know how that worked because they had to get permission from Colby to do that episode. Well, they didn't have to, but they did to do that episode. So they might have gotten permission from him to display them. Like, who knows?
They must have, otherwise you can't make a TV program.
Yeah. I don't know.
Rights and NDAs and all that stuff.
Yeah. But we're talking about a lot of legal stuff, so I have, just for the record, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We have no idea. There's one other one that I'd like to show, which is kind of cool.
All right. Oh yeah. Wait, didn't you send me one of those?
I want to see all these in actual bright colors as opposed to my cheap $20 Amazon book. Just saying.
Yeah, and with this one, that's what I meant with I want to put them in a sort of a video. I dug out the backside so that this box
the
is
light shines through.
Nice.
I have the little Lego lights, like these.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see the lights?
Yeah.
And I have a blue one that I want to put into this one.
Nice.
And have it shine up.
That's really cool.
I need to figure out how to do that.
Brilliant. Well,
Nice.
lots of light up balls around here, but
Yeah, so I have your horse rider from St. Augustine and the ferry from Charleston. Well, I have them currently. They're going to John.
Sure, they're in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say they're in a box, actually.
It's nice to know that John at least appreciates them.
Yeah.
Things.
I really think the first time I showed them to him, because it was during the book sales and stuff, and I think he was just like fed up with like numbers and taxes and all the crap that he has to go through, where he just kind of dismissed it. But then when I laid it down in front of him, he was like, holy shit. So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
well, and he actually sculpted it. It's not like someone just kind of
Yeah.
took the photocopy and
Oh, that's true.
he actually has the talent to sit there and sculpt all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, I know that this one is not a problem.
Yeah,
because this is a copy of a photo of an actual object in a city. This
That's a problem.
is Palancar. So I need to be careful with these.
I think he's cool with it. I'll find when I give them to him, I'll find out exactly how cool with it he is.
I saw a mention of a post you did about someone printed the Greek
Yeah.
centaur, and you asked on his behalf if he could commission one.
Yeah. So it was during the same
That was
conversation when
suggested.
he asked for all your stuff.
Okay, yeah,
Because when I showed him your stuff, I was like, John, dude, people make stuff all the time, and it's amazing. And I showed him
yeah,
some of the pictures of stuff people have made me. Like I've got a little key made out of felt. That's really cool. Just a whole bunch of little stuff that people have made. And then I started going through the Facebook pages. With that guy had sent the Cleveland one to Brian, and he was looking at it. And he was like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Wait until you flip one picture over, and the top opens up, and the keys inside."
there's something in it. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
can
he
imagine.
asked for one of those.
Let me jump in there with an idea. I can put it in the post it later. We were talking before we were recording about that I had an idea about origins.
Right.
Palancar made a book and it's called Origins. And I thought maybe in multiple of these hunts, that is something to look at. I tried to check that with two of the found casks and I can come up with a story how it would work. And the first one is the Boston one, where we're in a baseball diamond.
Right.
I figured, why Boston? Why baseball in Boston? If you look at the origins of baseball, the first time the rules for such a game were written down was in an English book called The Boy's Own Book by William Clark in 1828. And let me read this. The first printed description in English of a bat and ball base running game played on a diamond. The following year, the book was published in Boston, Massachusetts. So the first kids who played what later became baseball were in Boston. Maybe that has a reason. I don't know. I think it's a nice idea.
Yeah. I mean, it is a nice idea, but can we follow that rabbit hole down and apply it to Cleveland and Chicago?
Chicago, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Cleveland, I have an interesting idea as well.
Cool.
Um, we know that it's was at a planter at a wall in a Greek garden.
Yeah.
Now that's not just a wall. If you look at descriptions of that garden, you see that they call it a pylon, and it represents a wall of the Parthenon in Athens,
Right.
top of the Acropolis mountain. Um, the first settlement of Athens, 3000 before Christ, was situated on the rock of Acropolis. So you could say that symbolically, that planter at that wall symbolizes the origins of Athens. And the first, I don't know, 3000 years, no, it's Athens has been continuously inhabited for over 3000 years, becoming the leading city of ancient Greece in the first millennium BC. So even the origins of Greece, maybe.
So this would be an idea that wouldn't necessarily help you with the
No,
beginning stages of your hunt, but it would when
like
you
the
get
back
to
of the
the
book.
end. Well, when you get to the end, it would be a way
Yeah,
of going, yeah, okay, this
yeah,
this
makes
fits.
sense.
Yeah.
Like St. Augustine. I mean, it's the oldest city in the U.S. If you find something or some spot that has some relation with it being the oldest city, that could work also.
We got the first to everything,
Yeah, I know.
man. You want first Catholic mass? We got that. First, like Spanish buried, like we got everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not like there's just one spot
Yeah.
In St. Augustine.
I hate it. It's the same with Roanoke. Like you can't
Yeah,
go anywhere in Roanoke without English colonization. You can't go
I
anywhere in
mean,
St. Augustine without Spanish.
the first sort of the origin of English settlement, that could be an idea on the island itself.
Yeah.
But if you're more someone who looks at the memorial area, it could be the origins of flight
Yeah.
somehow.
Well, I
And
mean,
there are probably several more.
if we're following this rabbit hole down in St. Augustine, Fountain of Youth, first place, Spanish set foot in America, first Spanish colony in America was kind of on the grounds, was right next
Yeah,
door.
I've been very sympathetic to the Elizabethan gardens in Roanoke.
Yeah.
But because it's like a little park,
Hmm.
I try to, or I sort of hope that the final spot will be outside of it. And I have the same thing in St. Augustine, that that's a park that's sort of privately run, and I
Hmm.
hope that the final spot is outside of it.
So if it's outside of the Fountain of Youth, if it's immediately outside of the Fountain of Youth, we're screwed because there's two major things that happen. Like the road that the Fountain of Youth is on is Magnolia Avenue, and there's
Mhm.
only maybe 6 foot between in most places between the wall and the street. And in the late 90s, a Pepsi truck came and demolished a whole bunch of the wall. They tore it
Okay.
down, dug it out, rebuilt it from the ground up. And then, maybe 6 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago, the city came in and dug up the whole area to bury new sewer lines and new water lines. So if it's anywhere outside of the walls, we're kind of screwed,
Okay.
except for a couple of places where they didn't dig.
But you're sympathetic to it being inside
I
the
don't
fountain.
I don't know. I honestly like I don't I think the Fountain of Youth. I just don't know. Like, there's really good ideas for the Fountain of Youth, but that park really has been torn up, and there's been a lot of damage to it, not just by diggers, but over time with them renovating, with them planning stuff, and yada yada yada. Um,
No.
uh, I feel like they would have found something, and the Fountain of Youth isn't like a regular park where like if the guys are at Grant Park are replanting a tree and they find some stuff in the roots of that tree when they dig it up, they're just going to throw it away and not think about it, right? But the Fountain of Youth is a historically,
Document.
yeah, they're going to have to document it, and nothing's been found. I still like I'm torn between the amphitheater and a random location that no one's found, including me. Like I don't have it. When I say that, I'm not talking about a specific place. I just mean a random location we haven't found yet. For St. Augustine.
Okay.
That's
Um, I just saw in the chat that is it Eve? Eve, not Evie. Eve.
EBTV,
e-
EBTV, Mama T-Rex, take a pick.
You
Weirdo,
were
girl brain.
you were in Terneuzen.
Yes,
Yes.
I had to
I
look it
was
up.
there not too
It's been
long
like,
ago. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
It's in Zealand. You know, New Zealand was named after the province that city is in.
Nice.
That's the original Zealand, and New Zealand is the newer part.
I
Does
used to do all the product labeling and design for Dow, which was like 20 different languages. So I had to go set up the plant there. And they're very friendly at the airport. At least they were back then. They like to grow.
you did product
In,
design for Dell?
Dell?
Packaging design for Dow.
Oh,
All the
Dow.
hazardous, all your label says do not drink, do not put in your face. Don't be like the kid that decided to
Ah,
dig a
okay.
tube of urethane adhesive out and use it as army paint out of the trash. Um, all the hazardous information, but it was for Dow worldwide. So geek loser.
Somebody wanted me to
I'll
expand
put
on
up
the
the.
city experts thing, but I can wait while this conversation's going. Sorry.
I'll put up the image from the book I found about that baseball in Boston.
The baseball thing makes me twitchy.
Um,
Um,
while we're paused, James. So many people come asking who trustworthy people are to take film or whatever. I'm totally probably going to add you on this list because you're amazing.
okay.
We set up local experts who are people in cities in or like right around cities who are very trustworthy, very helpful, very kind, who people can go to and know they're not going to get like screwed over or know they're not going to be put in danger or whatever, to request things like pictures or footage or help. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know, and 100% I'll add you. So
There's
Again,
another one in Michigan, you know, in there, George.
yeah. If there's one in Detroit,
Or Michigan, all of Michigan, because I'm in the middle now. At full range.
yeah. I wish there was one in Michigan. Michigan seems fun. I say that, but it doesn't actually seem
I've
fun.
got the bar in the basement. The beer tap works now, by the way.
Nice.
Bar is fully stocked. Teenagers have discovered it. Just put it that way.
Oh shit. Okay. Somebody asked where I got the image for the background. It's the reconstructed image on 12 Treasures.
Okay, I just found a
Arthur will
stupid old
argue
book
with
in
me
the
on it, I'm sure.
basement.
You got a what?
A stupid old book. Strange stories, amazing facts. What am I mom? All those amazing books that my mother said are like filled with spiders. From '76, and I'm just flipping through it, and there's Riddle of the Money Pit.
The Oak Island Money Pit?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's been a thing for a long time.
Well, I haven't really gotten into it.
Yeah.
I know of it. I haven't watched the episodes because there's so many gabillion in. It seems like nothing ever happens.
Yeah, there's not.
And I already have enough of that with the secret, getting all geeked up over that. So I don't need another little thing. But I was like, damn, this has been going on for.
Stan Miller wants to know if I asked if I could buy the Nymphomane. I am not at liberty to talk about financial conversations which may or may not have occurred.
And it wasn't paid by the hour either.
Yeah, the Money Pit is an interesting history. Like if you get into it not looking for treasure, like if you just want to learn the history of the island, because it kind of started out as a scam, and like it was sold. The scam was sold to somebody who needed to recoup their money, and they again sold it as a scam, and it sold it as a scam, and it kept getting sold as a scam until these TV guys came up and they're like, we can make money off this scam.
Well, as of 1978, there's a diagram going down 180 feet.
Yeah.
And I know it's much further now, but I mean, like this right here, would definitely discourage me from, hey, let's dig further. It only keeps filling in with water. Sounds like fun. Hey, I found a rock.
Isn't that the power of treasure hunts? The myth, the lore, is there or isn't there?
Yes, but when you're already 180 feet down, I'm trying to figure out how I could possibly dig a 3-foot deep hole.
I feel like with your treasure hunts, there should be some plausibility. Like if we can't dig this hole with modern machinery, how did we expect pirates to dig it in like 1700s or whatever?
That is very true. Yes.
With water pouring in constantly.
Yeah. Like some of that they sell it to the public as like a huge mystery. Like there's channels that run from this lake and feed into the hole. Like that's an aquifer that's everywhere. Like that's not special. Yard. Yeah.
My front yard keeps flooding already. Like out of the 5 acres, that at least a good quarter acre that has, and you see the bubbles coming up into the water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be mosquito food.
Unresolved Mysteries there's a subreddit on Reddit called Unresolved Mysteries, and I used to be addicted to it. And like shit like Oak Island was my bread and butter. I love just reading about it and looking into
I
it.
try to keep away from it because I know once I do, I'm gonna do research to the history and this person did this and the other did that.
It's harder when you get into like missing persons and stuff. You get so involved, like it's crazy. And Unresolved Mysteries has a lot of missing persons on it. Like there was one that I got really like obsessed with. It was Amy Lynn Bradley. It was this lady that went missing on a cruise ship in Curacao in 1997, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, and I got obsessed with it because I love Curacao. Curacao. If I ever lived somewhere that wasn't in the States, it would be in Curacao. And
you'll be living in our kingdom.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so I looked into this. Your kingdom does not allow Americans to live there.
It doesn't?
No, you have to. So you have to at least.
That may have changed.
It may have. But when I looked into it, I had to give. I think it was $25,000 to the government, which they held, just in case you became a financial burden, and they would pay for you to go back. So it was your money that the government held. $25,000. You had to own property and pay like double tax on the property, and you could only stay there for 5 months a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I say that may have changed is because now Curacao and Aruba are separate countries within the kingdom.
Oh.
You have Saint Eustatius and Saint Martin, half of Saint Martin.
Mm-hmm.
They are sort of special communities within the Netherlands, but Curacao and Aruba are separate countries, their own country now.
So they're not ruled by. You have a king, or
we have a king, Willem-Alexander of Orange. That's why with all the racing and the soccer and the how do you call it, cycling. All the fans are in orange. It's because of the family, the royal family.
Yeah. It was a beautiful, beautiful country. Like if your country, if the Netherlands looks anything like Curacao did, like it's got to be beautiful. The colorful houses. You've never been to Curacao? You should go. So nice.
It looks a lot like New Zealand.
Yeah.
I mean, the feel it's flat. The Netherlands and New Zealand is very with a lot of hills,
Yeah.
but the feeling is similar. I don't know whether that's the climate or the lot of green grass and the trees and but
The feeling in Curacao was slightly dangerous.
okay.
Well, like
Must be.
when Rachel and I go on vacation, we don't like to stay in the tourist traps. Like so if you go into the poorer areas of Curacao, you can eat iguana. Like they make iguana
Okay.
sandwiches and stuff. And we wanted one, so we're like wandering around the ghetto in Curacao, not knowing where we're going, asking random people like, "Where can I eat an iguana?"
Okay.
So yeah, slightly dangerous.
We had a taxi driver in Acapulco do that. That was like, oh, I'll just drive you around to all the good spots, and didn't know for 2 hours, didn't know where we were going, and I already had unsafe ice cubes a few days before, and it was not a good thing. But we were driving through areas, and I'm just like, we're gonna die.
I once when I visited New York, I walked from Pier 18 way in the south, from Manhattan, all the way up to Central Park. Took me about a day. And later I heard you shouldn't have done that because that could be a little dangerous if you're alone.
Yeah.
People take the subway for a reason.
Oh,
There are more people there. Yeah.
what's it? Is it Mark? For St. Augustine?
Mark.
Oh, is that his name? I'm so bad with names.
Mark.
He has stories of where
Mark, the guy that likes the church.
yes,
Yeah.
he has stories of being like kidnapped for a while, and it just like
Yeah. You could have just said the guy that was kidnapped.
well, I was trying to use my old brain to actually pull out a little bit more than that. So hassle me, George. I'll come after you, man. I've seen those VR games. It's not good.
So Arthur, everybody has their own favorite puzzle, and their favorite for different reasons. I notice it's not there now, but I'm assuming Montreal is yours because of your general usual background.
Oh, you mean? Let me get that. Where is it? Over
I
here.
would love to be able to. I grew up with one of my mom's friends was a sculptress, and she ended up teaching at the art schools and all that. And it was just so I've seen this stuff like big scale. So just seeing the stuff he comes up with is just like
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite is Montreal. Um, but usually the favorite is the one where I have the newest idea about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one reason why I like them so much is even if it's a rabbit hole, if it's nothing that leads to a final dig spot, just think you realize something or think you saw something new. That's the epiphany. That's a burst of energy. That's the stuff I like. And this one is sort of the first one that we looked at, and we've looked at many others. I think as a hunt in itself, I like Montreal a lot. I think when you look at the paintings, I like Houston a lot
Yeah.
because it's so difficult. I mean, I have an idea as why it would be difficult. And as a sort of concept, I like Charleston a lot, just because it's yeah, has a very strong connection to European maritime history,
Yeah.
which is sort of my background.
what so are you into not as far as a secret, but into the first ships that came over to
The Mayflower.
is it Maine? Is Maine the most eastern?
Are you talking
You
about
mean
like
the
the Vikings?
Well, no, there was somebody from England or something, I think, that came over and they basically the ship almost didn't make it. He was kind of like writing the story of the book on the way over. And I will look it up because otherwise I'm just gonna be sitting here rambling and nobody's gonna know what the hell I'm talking
Are
about.
you
So.
talking about the Beagle that Darwin was on? That didn't come here.
For the Mayflower from Plymouth.
No,
Mayflower
I'm not
didn't
that
manage
bad,
to make
Arthur.
it.
Come on.
The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria?
No, I know my public education in the 70s is, pretty bad, but we did cover that. We did cover Paul Revere.
The only thing that I can think of, like a ship that was in danger that somebody wrote a book, was the HMS Beagle. The Darwin.
Let me look it
They
up.
went to the Galapagos.
No, this was definitely, it was something that I stumbled upon looking for, first touch scene with the first chapter written in water and
Yeah, I think
scroll stuff from way back.
everybody in chat's going directly to like Eric the Red, like they're going to the Vikings.
It's not like I will look into it and I will throw it up. I will look it up on my phone.
And then David
Was
Bowling
he
asked who you
directly
guys
related
are again.
to
Huh?
Leif Erikson? Is it Leif Erikson the son of Eric the Red?
Oh,
No,
God.
but that is what's on that sequel for Vikings.
Okay.
But they all look alike on that one.
God, I'm glad you had an answer for that, because I was going to be like, I played Assassin's Creed. I don't remember.
I love Assassin's Creed. That has actually taught me more than my 1970s public school education. And that's what the secret's good for. I've learned a lot more about history than.
Somebody else is asking what our topic is and who everybody is. There is no topic. It's free. If anybody wants to come in.
And I am nobody.
Come in.
We are all nobodies.
Have you ever played Riven from the Myst series?
Yeah, that was Myst 2.
Yes. On my Commodore 64.
Really like that one.
That came out on the Commodore 64?
No. It was one of the first CD-ROM games.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
It was like Pentium era.
That was they had the. You have to look this way, and then you click, and then the image goes that way, and you click, the image goes that way, and then after that they made one Exile, I think.
Yeah.
And that had image bubbles where you can look around just like Street View in Google.
They remade Myst as a 3D game for the Oculus, which I bought.
The unending one?
Huh?
The infinite, the unending version?
The unending version of Myst? There was an unending version? I didn't know that.
Exile has an ending, I think, but the one after that is unending.
Oh wait, so this was the first Myst game.
The first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
They completely redid it in 3D and like some new engine. I actually downloaded it and I was thinking about playing it one day, but I haven't.
I have to watch you play that, but you have to have the sound on so I can hear.
Sit here and be like, what am I doing? I don't know.
I loved Myst. That was my I could play that. That was before I started getting motion sickness when I blink. So
I think like I was like 12 or something when that game came out.
I still have the instructions.
Yeah, I got.
Don't have the disc, but I have the.
I can give you the disc. I got a bunch of those.
I made something of that too.
Of Myst?
Yeah, Riven. Yeah, the Myst
Riven. Link the zoom. I'll send it to
you,
Simon.
His screen is really making me.
He's got that awesome autofocus.
The zoom is gone. It's the little creature.
Oh, nice.
Squee or the squaw or something.
It is very helpful.
I sent.
If I remember.
If you had the special edition of the game, then you got this one in metal.
Oh.
Like half the size or something.
Wow. I didn't know there was a special edition of Riven.
I don't know, 25 years old or something, 20 years old.
I like talking about old games. I could do this all day, man.
I'm finding some old games that I have no way to play because they're on floppy disks.
Just go to GOG. GOG.com, good old games. It's all like really, really cheap old school games. Oh, I gotta change to 4 people now. I have 4 people. We'll just go back to now.
I need a different hat. I'm not used to this.
Hang on, let me just. I've got multiple sound sources. I'm getting confused.
Welcome to my world.
I'm a DJ. I've got all.
You have the stream open because there you can turn the sound down.
I should pop out this.
That saves you one source of sound.
Yeah, it is. It's just I've got lots of tabs. open. There we go.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, I'm a big Myst fan. I played all the Myst games apart from Riven because you can't get that one easily anymore.
No.
There was Uru Online, which was actually kind of interesting because that's one where you have to cooperate with each other, or you could. Did you ever go with that one?
Which one?
Huh?
Uru.
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 That's the one I meant.
Yeah, that's the one. That's one where I mean that was the one that the early 2000s where they had like real time people working together in a
Yeah.
game, and it was kind of ahead of its time because they had to write all the libraries and all that stuff, and they got it working, and it was really good. And you can still get an account and go on, and there's actually a community there of Myst fans that still are, but they're kind of like it's kind of yeah, you can do the puzzle. There is a puzzle to do, and you can do that sort of thing. But there is some sort of hanging out there that with some of the Myst fans, and one of them was a secret oldie, one of the old guard, and I talked to them. I didn't mention the secret, but I worked out that they were part of the secret.
You mean someone who worked on Uru co-created the secret?
No. Someone who is like a big is Catherwood, who was behind. She's the one who thinks, or sort of like, she started the Herman Park is Image 8, and then 982. I think she was the one who kind of discovered that stuff. And I didn't know. I was started talking to her and stuff, and like, it's this nice woman who was talking to about puzzles and things. And
yeah, Catherwood's so sweet, and it's been into this for so long.
The one thing I thought was cool in I think it was the Riven game, is that there was one puzzle that had like a playing board, and you had to put like gems or marbles, I think, in the game in certain spots, and you had like 6 marbles, but the key to solving it was to use only 5.
I think I remember that hell.
Simon's.
I saw
I'll
things.
be right back, guys.
Think about that when you're busy with the secret, as in there are things in there that are just city identifiers. There things that are just, I know, make you recognize a park or something. But maybe there's also something there that you don't need to use everything to figure it out. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah. Those are a good series of games. I sometimes go back to the cavern. They've released new content, sort of, because there are other servers that like set up like levels where you could go into the levels and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of those have been incorporated into the main thing as like, they've discovered some new, books that like link to the things. And about 1.5 years ago, I think it was, there was a big ceremony where like everyone sort of like went into the books and stuff, and they were all queuing up, and it was like all just like queuing up to go to these places. And there's no puzzles and stuff there, but it's just like it was a nice thing. But yeah, they all sort of logged on for that. But they have like weird, they have parties there where they play music, and it's like someone's DJing like a bunch of music, and it's basically they're just playing streams, and people playing the dance emoticon. It's just like, it's very boomerish. So it's like, yeah, it's nice that there's a little community there, but it's kind of very, very calm. But the having a go on Uru and getting doing the sort of puzzles there was very good. It's very good. But
I love the designs of all the little cabins and the rocks and the atmosphere changing, like it's getting dark at a certain moment, and I don't know if
yes,
that's Euro.
yeah. They've got a new one coming out. It's called Firmament, which is a VR one.
Firmaments?
Firmament,
Firmament.
like weather.
Uh,
And people are saying, I think the creator's saying, watch out, you can get a firmament, like a car sticker, a badge. But people think you're flat Earth. So careful, because that's one of the things is the flat Earth people or whatever think there's like a dome over the Earth and
Like that film with what's his name?
Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yes.
That was
Who
it, yeah.
you got, George? You got
Simon?
enough for everybody.
Oh, you got the.
Simon
My
said
God,
candy.
I sent you sweets. Technically.
Like I saved a whole bunch for the next time you were on stream. And
Okay.
this is my absolute favorite, and I found out that you can buy it at a store near my house.
Oh yeah. Some of them I guessed you would be.
Yeah.
When I sent George a retro game for like the Amiga.
Uh-huh.
I had an Amiga, and it was like Gloom, which is like a Doom clone, wasn't it? Some sort of weird. Anyway, I sent it on, and the cost of shipping was like X amount, and to send another bit, send like I think twice the weight again was not half the price. So I just went, I'll just send a bunch of stuff. So you're eating all the crunchies then, not your son.
Yeah. My son has all the orange chocolate. For some reason, orange chocolate's good or like big and for British people. I don't know, but it's not good for me.
So chocolate.
Uh,
They still
did-
sell arrows over there.
Yeah, that's Nestle.
I love arrows. But they're much better back in the 70s. That's also when the Cadbury cream eggs are like really good.
Yeah, Nestle's not very nice company.
Yeah, Simon, you helped me find a Christmas present for Bradley. Which he still
Oh,
hasn't
wow.
gotten. He still
Well,
hasn't gotten it, but he's not going to watch the stream, so it doesn't matter. That he's been looking for years.
Okay.
And we've never been able to find it. And it just popped up, and I was like, holy shit, I have to get this.
Oh, it's a pain because I was in the post office and the guy like made me write out the thing really quickly and I was like, oh, and then he actually got it wrong and stuff, and I came back the next day to say, oh, the address you've put in an S instead of the 5 or whatever it was, or the way around.
Yeah.
And he's like, so it's like, oh.
They
So I
were
was like, I was like kind of a bit, and it was expensive. Okay, so in there, right, yeah, in the bag,
Okay.
weird sweets. Okay, find the Parma violets. They're like a little tube of purple, very purple candy, like little cylinder. There you go. Right, those ones are weird. Those ones are weird.
They're weird.
So you're gonna have to go with that one. Yeah. Some people like them. I don't. They're all right, but not. They're quite popular.
Can you describe it, George? Is it like a sweet tart, or is it more like those wafer things?
It tastes like soap.
Yeah, exactly. It tastes like. I think it just tastes like flowers that are being ground up. There's a friend. My co-worker went canoeing near the factory that makes that. The factory that makes that. And like he said that the entire valley or whatever where they were smelled like that sweet because you can, if you smell them, they got quite a distinct smell.
You know, Evie, when you go to a gas station and you go to wash your hands and you put the soap on it and it smells like this weird chemical flour, that's what that tastes like.
Your face kind of like screams that.
That was not great. These are much
Yeah,
better.
well,
Crunchies are.
I don't. Some people like them, and I don't like them, but my brother likes them.
So you send it to him.
Well, no, I didn't. You don't know, do you? You don't know. Like the
It's
chocolate
like
orange
trading
stuff.
Halloween candy when you get back from raiding all the houses. You're like, who wants this chewy thing that's gonna tap you and rip your teeth out? Here, I'll trade you for a Kit Kat.
Yeah, the chocolate orange. The orange chocolate. There's actually, when you bit the normal one, it's actually an orange. It's actually a chocolate that's made out of like the shape of the orange and it's segments, and you tap it, and then you can peel off the segments as chocolate pieces. And those are wonderful. But if you don't like, there's some pork scratchings in there as well because that's like a local delicacy.
Yeah, Rachel ate those, and she said they were amazing.
That's what I'm going.
I've had one of my worst eating experiences on pork scratchings. Yeah, because it is pork that's been like heat treated and stuff. Yeah, but if they don't burn the thing enough, then you might get some hairs left.
Yeah.
And if you eat them, the hairs on the back of your throat are like amazingly terrible.
Yeah, we have little Mexican grocery stores around here where the people make their own chicharrones. They just skin the pig, and I don't know how they do it, but you'll get them in they're huge, and like every other one is just covered in hair. You're like,
You gotta use a blowtorch.
Oh no!
That's what we do out here in the woods. Blowtorch it.
Yeah.
Burn the hair off that way.
Yeah, yes. It's fun. What else is in the bag? I can't remember what I sent you.
So I got fruit salad, which
Oh,
doesn't
yeah, that's
look like fruit salad.
Yummy, yummy.
yeah.
Um,
They're just chewies. Drumsticks. Say drumsticks.
Chew bar.
A Vimto. That's a blackcurrant one. I'm not a fan of blackcurrant, but
I am not
people are.
either.
Oh, okay.
Licorice?
You've got a child. You got
Yes. This drumstick, which appears to be this sort of, it's called drumstick.
Like
Wait, hold that poster. That looks familiar. Is that like the?
right, it's
That
raspberry-ish
looks like
flavor.
Oh, that'd be good.
It's like a raspberry flavor. Yeah, I
And
think.
then there was a one of these called Flake.
Flake. Okay, yeah.
That
There's
Jason started.
Flakes. There was an erotic advert for it back in the 70s and 80s for that. Yeah, because like a woman would like be in a bathtub and she'd like eat the very cylindrical thing that would flake in her mouth, and it was like, yeah, that's kind of fun. Well, you got there, Lindor. Yeah, they appear occasionally.
Well, Simon,
What else?
while you're on here, man, I haven't been able to tell you. I sincerely appreciate you sending me that thing that will make Bradley's year. He's been looking for it forever. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I can report. Yeah, so that Discord thing, it would be nice if there's like a helpee group where people who get helped are kind of like who are okay and.
So the thing is, I don't know who people on Discord are because nobody uses their real names and nobody uses their Q4T names, and I have no idea who these people are. And I feel weird recommending somebody to the entire community if I don't know who they are. You know?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Because they could just use any name they want.
Yeah, that's why I was like on Facebook, let me know if you're on Discord. And Rebecca did. Rebecca's on Discord. And I was like, I'll add you to the group on Discord. But there's so many people on Discord, and I don't know who any of them. I mean, if they tell me, I'll know, but I don't know them, by name. So it's hard. I'd love to get Discord more active because Discord is like an amazing tool. It's just not as active as. I mean, there's like 500 or 600 people on it, I think.
I'm on there with my normal name, but then I'm probably the only one. It's not like I'm that useful.
They don't always talk. I don't know how many. Yeah, like there's like 500 or 600 people, and they don't always talk, and none of them use their real names.
That's true. I've gone on the chat room and like someone's joined and they go, oh, and it's like anagram guy, and I'm like, oh, hello, and then they just log off immediately. It's like, okay, well, there you go.
I know we wanted to start doing like video and audio chats on Discord, kind of like this. I don't know how to stream to Discord. I don't think you can.
Oh yeah,
can you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. On other groups, there's like a watch stream button in the bottom left. I'm just clicking up Discord, trying to see if I go to one of my other groups.
We'll have to see if we can get Millie to do this. Like Millie is, she's the admin on Discord, and she's amazing. She knows.
Certainly, you can certainly share screen, and you can like watch a stream together and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think I can play.
So Simon, what do you think about Arthur's firsts?
His first what? I missed the very first 9 minutes. So
do you want to? Because I think you guys would agree.
What? On what?
I wondered about why baseball was picked for Boston, and I found something that was interesting. I actually put the image in the main group. I can't add anything under the stream, but it's a little up there in the main group. The first description of the game that is considered to be baseball was written in England in 1828. Let me get the text because I got it open here.
The game. I don't know the evolution of it. Yeah, but in England, my internet is unstable. The evolution of it in England, the game that is similar to that is called Rounders.
Yeah, it's not Rounders.
No, but it's so similar to it. It's like I think you have to hit.
Yeah, the script. Oh, you're freezing. That's
so my internet's roboting.
Okay.
I'm back again. Go on.
In London, William Clark in 1828 published the book called The Boy's Own Book, which has rules for all sorts of games. Rounders is one of them. And the first printed description in English of a bat and a ball based running game played on a diamond.
Okay,
And the
yeah.
following year, so in 1829, the book was published in Boston, Massachusetts. So maybe
Okay, yeah.
the origin of baseball is to be found in Boston because the first kids played the game that's considered to be the first description.
Oh, it's the first place where things happen. I get it. Yeah.
And if you take that idea to Cleveland, to just add one more.
Oh, I think I saw from this point on. Okay, right, yeah. So you said so let's apply that to the other ones. I mean, my very brief why Boston has baseball stuff in it is because Boston has baseball stuff everywhere. All the parks. Well, I mean, I don't know all, but nearly all the parks have like a baseball field.
But that's not uncommon in America. Like
not uncommon in America, but it's a bit more extreme in Boston.
I don't know. Baseball fields around here are everywhere. Like I got.
Oh yeah, no, but look at Boston. There's loads. There's loads.
I got a park. I live in a town of like 3,000 people. I got a park a quarter mile from me, and it's got 3 baseball fields in it.
Yeah, okay,
baseball fields they're legitimate. What's up, buddy?
Good night.
Good night, buddy. Sweet dreams.
Good night.
Arthur says good night too.
The person who gave you chocolate says good night.
Okay. Oh, and the guy that sent you the chocolate says good night. His name's Simon. Do you want to tell him that you like him?
Yeah, I want to report on what he likes. What does he like? Yeah.
I thought those were yours.
Well, they're also yours. You ate like half.
Oh, busted.
I only have one.
What does he like? What does he like?
Which one did you like?
It was like that whisper thing.
The flake. This one.
The flake, yeah.
No?
You know who's been eating it?
Huh?
I remember it was the orange one. It was
No. For me, it was like this. Like it said whisper.
Wispo?
Oh, whispers, yeah.
Whispers.
Oh yeah, whispers.
Whispers. That's the one you liked?
Yeah, but I've also never had crunch.
Yeah, I wouldn't let you have it because it's my favorite.
That's Cadbury. Cadbury factory is in my city.
Okay, buddy.
Oh,
I live next to the Cadbury factory. Well, not saying next, but it's in the same city.
Thank you.
Cadbury's really good, even though some of it changed, but it's still the drinking chocolate is my favorite.
Oh yeah, no, I got a bunch of that.
My son.
Yeah, they had a.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say the Cadbury had a problem where they had like salmonella in one of the pipes, and they had to do a big chocolate recall, and they basically lost a huge amount of money, and then Kraft bought them. So it's more modernish, some American influence stuff has come into Cadbury's, but that's fine. Anyway, right, okay. So first, okay, so yeah, I think Boston is a bit more baseball-y than other cities. The other cities are obviously have lots of baseball fields and stuff, but it's a bit more prominent there, isn't it?
In Boston?
Okay.
Okay.
I think so. I think if you could look and you go, just a bit, there seems to be a lot more.
All right.
Okay. So what would San Francisco be if you think it's San Francisco? First,
Let me mention the one I mentioned earlier for Cleveland.
yeah, the Greek, the Parthenon.
The plants are on the wall, and the wall is described as being a pylon that represents the Parthenon in Athens.
Yeah.
Athens is like the first settlement in Greece, started 3,000 years ago, 3,000 before Christ, so 5,000 years ago. So symbolically, you could say it symbolizes the origins of Greece.
Yeah. I was just going to say also, the Parthenon, where in Acropolis where the Parthenon is, there were no straight lines.
And the meaning of that is?
I mean, if you go on YouTube and you look, there's an episode of QI or a clip from QI where Stephen Fry sort of like mentions the Parthenon. There's quite a famous clip where it goes a bit out of control, but that's kind of like that's the gist of what he's getting at, was like he's trying to say this thing and he kind of looks up. But anyway, there's a thing. I can't remember what it was, but he says there's no. The clip cuts off, and I don't know what. But he says there's no straight lines in the Parthenon.
Oh, okay, yeah. One thing I do know is that in the front they altered the perspective of the columns, and the outer columns are further apart than the other ones, so it seems like it's straight, but it's actually not.
Okay.
They
So
could,
they're at an angle. Okay.
I'm trying
They're
to
not
think,
actually distinct.
trying to think
they're
of
not
Simon's
powered.
question, like what would be first for Chinese in San Francisco, but there's so many things.
I mean,
I
yeah.
always think of, and it's not San Francisco necessarily. I just always think of the trains and the railroad track building and
Yeah,
that's what created San Francisco. Yeah.
basically
It was a gold rush.
slave labor almost.
Gold
but they
rush.
can. I think a lot of them came through Texas though too. Squirrels.
Yeah.
I mean, also Charleston. Go through the things. What was the first thing? I mean, you said okay, so the Parthenon,
Charleston,
baseball rules. New York, first metropolis.
Charleston's easy. Like if you were an African American person who was coming to America for the first time, you're probably going to White Point Gardens, right? Or somewhere right around in White Point Gardens, where the market happened to be that day.
Or Solomon's Island.
In a good way though, they cost in Canada.
I don't know. I don't know if they came into. Did they come into Sullivan's Island first, or?
No, I'm not saying first. I think White Point Gardens first, but later on it moved to near Fort Moultrie, I think. There's like this big sign, waymaking sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
But no, I agree. White Point's Garden is a good spot, good area.
Okay. I mean, Chicago, we know that's correct, don't we? So,
I got nothing.
what would be the first thing?
First in Chicago. I can't think of one.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do every one, but you should look at each one and go.
It's a fun thought experiment to do each one.
Absolutely, yeah. I absolutely advocate. In fact, recently, I've doing the puzzle and doing an aspect of it, yeah. And there's a pattern I think I've identified a while ago, yeah. And there's another pattern which I got to about 40% that I could see like as a pattern, yeah. But that was it. It was like a wall, yeah. And that was 7 months ago that I kind of like hit this wall. And recently, I've managed to fill the rest of the up to 100% ish on that pattern. So I'm kind of slightly celebrating over the last couple of weeks because I kind of went, I've got to get it now. But I'm not going to say what it is. You'll have to wait. So
Mojo made a comment. She said, "It's not that I don't like Arthur's idea, but I think you can make an argument of first for a lot of the cast cities, and that's true. But like." A lot of people, these kind of thought experiments they're important, and they lead you down interesting paths where they might not be the answer, but they might lead you to one. They just get you thinking in a different way. It's like we were trying to do on the other Sunday Funday when we were like breaking apart and trying to pair different lines of verses. It's not necessarily correct, but it's a good thought experiment.
In New Orleans. You have that's a city where jazz sort of originated. Congo Square is the area where jazz sort of started.
Mm-hmm.
It's not difficult to think, hey, maybe the circle in the clock has something to do with that square because of the origins of jazz. Could be.
Yeah.
Montreal, which you specialize on. I mean, the Cartier Square, I think, would be a good starting point for anything that starts there. Don't know what diamond trade. I don't know some aspect of the diamond trade. I don't know what else Montreal is famous for in terms of being the first.
Churches.
Maybe the
church. I did not mean first, but more origin.
Oh, origin. Okay, origin.
The origin of something, like the origin of jazz, the origin of baseball, the origin of. I don't know, St. Augustine, the first city in the U.S., the origin of the Spanish community?
No.
Maybe. So Augustine would be the origin of like landing in the U.S.
No.
Origin of the country.
It's got to be the origin of something. Jacksonville's the origin of Maxwell House coffee. That doesn't count. That's the only thing that I can think of that, like, it's the origin of American Catholicism. St. Augustine. That's where Catholicism in America originated, was right next to the Fountain of Youth.
What was the one in California, though? Mission.
In Los Angeles?
Yeah, like across from. Oh, freaking geography suck. Across from LA, there's those islands, the little islands. Catalina Island.
I don't know.
There's
in Los Angeles.
Miguel something major explorer that I think the missions there were.
Don't try to take our history. We're the first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I swear on nothing because. And I sent you a picture, George, of my notes that I have scribbled on my,
Yeah.
if you can read them. And in the chat, I put. And apparently, that stuff I thought was Maine is Florida. But
every time I see that notes in a book, I know it's a recent one.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to jot all over the original 1980s version.
I'm actually gonna buy another one so I can have a clean.
Okay.
Because like I have all different. It all depends which squirrel and which night and how deep into the Ambien zone I am, and how many days I've been up before that.
I've done that. I would like into the small hours, but not an Ambien or anything. Just not sleeping with a sort of I got a writable e-ink pad. One of those ones.
You have to get a binder.
Well, because we've chatted about that, about our lack of sleep that we have. So it's like, I mean, my things I come up with. Oh, Arthur, you'll appreciate this. My art student drew this in here for me.
That's cool.
That's a big tip. Like, this entire book's on 12 Treasures. Just get a binder, print it out. You can write all over it. And then, like, when you go to meet people, if they want to write on your book, they can, and you just print out a new page.
That's smart.
Oh, here's a suggestion. Can we get the back of the book scanned in at some point?
And on 12 Treasures, it's there.
Is that the file? I thought there was something missing, or maybe it's.
There is a PDF that does not include the back of the book, and it comes from like the wiki, and it's been around forever, and it's got crap images. There was a more complete PDF that was. It had all of the high-res scans in it. It had some updated pictures from Ben. It had all kinds of stuff. And we were requested via John Colby to take it down. So I did. It's still floating around out there. I'm sure people downloaded it before we took it down. But that's when we just like...
Someone could send me a link of it if they wish to be nice to
he like, that's the only real thing he's ever asked us to do. It was like, if you just take this down on your website and put a link to buy the book. And I did those two things. And
well, obviously, I have bought the book, and it's not, it's well traveled in Michigan.
So
and I also bought the Amazon version too. The iBook doesn't have the back of the book in it either, which really pissed me off.
Really?
Wow. Is there a new version after 2015? Like in 2018 that there was an improved version? Is that true?
It could be that she downloaded like a
this is 2018 on this one.
Like a pirated copy, because the Kindle version does have, it's the entire book. So
what I have is the Kindle version. I mean, I it's the Kindle version because I wanted to be able to highlight and
it doesn't have the back of the book in it? That's odd.
And that's actually
Eve, Phil said, or Chris said you could get the back of the book from Phil. Or not the back of the book, the PDF. He said you could get the PDF from Phil.
Thank you. I will hit him up later.
Simon, what is your favorite city or hunt or painting or verse or?
I'm like you. It's what you've just discovered the last bit on. That's you've had an epiphany. I mean, the thing is, although Montreal is a perfectly good puzzle, the painting is not very, it's not very detailed and there's not as much there. So therefore, it ranks a bit lower, I think, because it's not as nice. It's perfectly nice to look at, but it's not as colourful and wonderful as some of the other pictures. So it kind of gets downgraded a little bit. Unfortunately, it's kind of like I think that's the reason why people aren't interested in it as much, because it just doesn't strike them as one to start with or maintain doing.
But it's got the whole face mouth thing and the eyes all going wonky.
Yeah, but it doesn't have it has a leg eater, I guess. But that's, I mean, compared to the other paintings, it's not as interesting bits. You know, it's like a lot of brown, and well, okay, fair enough.
Very Art Deco, I think, kind of ish.
Yeah. I don't
It's
know
very
which is my favorite.
Rembrandt Art Deco, but I mean, as far as buildings, there's a lot of. There was that time period where a lot of the bronze, glass, and metal stuff.
But when you say Art Deco, I always think Miami. Like with the colors and the straight shapes and the curves and.
Yeah, but I think more colorful colors than what would be considered the Montreal painting.
Yeah.
Tim,
that would be more San Francisco, could be like Miami, just because of the blues and all that, the intense color versus the browns and golds. But I mean, I like them all. But they all are.
I like all the pictures. That's fine. But
Tim O'Dwyer made a comment that says Montreal has a tree. I mean, I'm assuming Montreal has several trees. Probably more.
Tree in the picture.
It says a tree in the picture.
Is that what he means?
I'm not sure.
Is that what you mean? I don't have the text.
I just wanted to poke fun at Tim real quick. I like Tim. He's a really nice guy.
Hold it up, Arthur. Let's see it. Hold it up. Let's see it up close.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So I'll ask you, Arthur, the same question that I asked. Sort of.
That really looks like there's something on that one side in the.
Yeah, this is mine. This
right.
Is so don't take this as clues. Look at the Palancar's version. This is just what I did with the brush.
It's just a lot easier to see than.
Arthur painted that.
I know, it's beautiful. I wasn't saying that I was going to go run off and dig something up based on it. I was expressing my appreciation for it.
Thank you very much.
Arthur, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Cole and Chris the other week. Do you agree where in the English book it says lane 222? In the Japanese book, the hint says that lane's a proper noun, but it also lists 222 as the number 2, the number 20, and then the number 2.
Yeah.
Is that how you interpret that? Not 222, not 222, but 2.
I interpret those two things as two separate things.
Yeah, but I'm saying
not that lane and 222 need to be connected. Personally, I think 222 is the most likely, even if it's not spelled correctly, maybe.
Well, it's written out in numbers in the Japanese book. It's written number 2, the number 20, and then the number 2.
If you think about Chicago with the 10 by 13, it could be something like that too. 2 things, 20 things, and another 2 things. I even thought about, X's. 10, 2 X's is 20. Like 2 stripes, 2 X's, 2 stripes. Maybe that is something in the physical world where that does apply. But then you need to find a lane first.
This is a good question.
Square roots or I don't want to think about man.
Can I just turn off my video?
Being a proper noun could even be that the lane itself is maybe not. How do I say that? I think it needs to be part of a name that is something specific, like not an alley something.
Yeah,
like a shipping lane.
That could be. Sure, I like that one. There's a lot of shipping.
Dig in the water though. But it was bad.
But with many things, I like that George, that you talked about maybe looking at the verses differently, because often certain verse lines are connected automatically.
Yeah, and that's bad.
And it's interesting if you separate them, that maybe they are separate spots. Like for instance, Roanoke. What was it? First seen and last touched. If you think about the Watergate, that's a perfect fit. It's the first thing you see if you go somewhere, and it's the last thing you touch as you leave and close the gate. But what if it's 2 separate things? One thing that you first see, and another thing that you last touched. Because the word of or in front of it. It looks like in Charleston there's a line that has or in it that suggests that it's something else than the line that went before it.
Well, I'd say in Roanoke specifically, I think what ties it together is not necessarily the word or, it's under that. So it's like whatever this is referring to, whatever this is under is these two is not these two things, but it's this. It's under that this one thing that I'm describing as last touched or first seen standing. I think that's
Okay, so
what ties us together.
the two verse lines are one thing.
Yeah, that I mean that's what I think. Is it? I gotta
Okay.
pull it up now. Now that we're talking about it, under that which may be last touched or first seen standing, and that like we skip that too a lot when we're talking about it. I know I do a lot where I say under that which is last touched or first seen standing, but that's not the words. It's under that which may be last touched. You don't have to touch it, but you might touch it.
Which may be last touch. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
But
we do that so often with little jumps in the words. We just forget them and go, oh, hang on, it's...
Yeah, Chris had to correct me on the last stream with I forget what it was now, but it was something where I was just repeating it the way I always do, and it's not how it's in the book.
Is it
I've done it where I've had an epiphany.
Huh?
first seen, last touched, or
It is under that which may be last touched or first seen standing.
and I think that's how I got to Maine, because there's the one spot in Maine, which is the first place in the U.S. that gets hit by the sunrise.
But it's weird that it's May, right? It may be last touched, but it is first seen standing. Or is it maybe it's the last touch, then maybe it's the first seen?
Well, if you think of sunrise, sunset, and I'm not saying this is the thing.
Yeah, you're just
For the last touch would be at sunset, and it's also the first scene. It's the first spot that the sun hits it. So it's
what could also be interesting is that in July and August a path beckons. Should we put together?
See,
And then
I always
Jamaica and Driftwood under that are together. That could create something completely different.
Yeah.
I can't come up with some physical thing that would fit, but I like sort of separating things and seeing if they are individual things or maybe they're connected to the other one that the one is assumed.
Yeah.
And that's what you meant with let's play with that and see what it gets.
Yeah, people didn't like that when I tried that.
No?
No.
Oh,
No.
I really like that.
I've done things where you've got the line wrong, and you see something and you go, oh, is that an answer? And then you go, oh, I think I found it. And you go back to the thing, you go, oh no, no, that thing. I just imagine that word. Oh, that was not there.
drumming is beating. It's beating, not a drum. It's not drumming. I got
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That one I was like,
yeah, people are putting Drummond if Drummond the world. Yeah.
Like I get it. There, a lot of this is my fault. It really like I'll freely admit it. A lot of this is mine and John Michael's fault. Specifically.
What do you mean with fault?
Because we when we first started doing these podcasts, when we first set up this page, we read things in a specific way, we explained things in a specific way.
Oh,
and now looking back at them, it's probably wrong. Like, and we need to get out of the habit of where we just assume. Like we look at July and August and we automatically assume it's the Virginia Dare Monument, right? Just because those words are there. We've got to get out of that habit. We have to look at it differently, but sort of with the same eyes. Does that make sense? Like it has to make as much sense as this, but it doesn't have to be that.
Well, what I like is the two maps with white, as in the John White drawings.
Yeah.
That's a physical location.
Yes.
I also like the Virginia Dare Monument for July and August because it's literally on the monument itself. But then in between is the circle and square. Do we go back to the big roundabout in the parking space, being the circle and the square? Or is it perhaps a shape that Fort Raleigh was made of, a circle and a square together?
That's another shape.
And you can also go to the Elizabethan Gardens, but then in between those two spots, it's a little far to go to the gardens.
Well, see what sucks about Roanoke is in between those two spots is the entirety of the park. Like if you were to start at where white is in color with two maps and go to July and August, you've walked across the entire park and you've skipped everything. Wasn't
the sign with the maps near the visitor center? You park the car, you go to the visitor center, and
I thought it was near the ticket booth. I'm pretty sure it was near the ticket booth.
Near the theater.
Yeah. I'm not. No, don't hold me to this. I'm only like 75% sure because it was gone by the time I like got into this hunt, and I'm only looking at pictures and going off of what other people have told me, and I'm almost positive it was by the ticket booth. That was like there was like a so when you walk up to the ticket booth, on your right is a ticket booth, but on your left is a big sign, talking about the play and talking about the history of the park and whatever. And from what I was told back then, the sign was different, and over on the ticket booth was like a slanted table that had the maps on it.
Okay.
And that's always confused me. So okay, we're white is in color and two maps, so we're at the ticket booth. Now I guess you could pass circle and square if you think about it as the parking lot, but they're reversed, like it would be after square and circle, and then you'd end up at the other end of the park just to look for that monument. The path was confusing.
Yeah. Oh, here. Yeah, that's sort of where I lose direction. I mean, there's a nice thought that it ends up at the water gate, but because of the gift giver giving clues at Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
I sort of figure they've seen that. That would mean it is lost, the Watergate. Giving new clues has people searching for new areas, which sort of makes me hope, I don't know, nobody knows, but makes me hope that it's not lost, not at the Watergate, but somewhere else.
Yeah, when I wouldn't count this out as being lost. But
No, I don't think it's lost.
I also wouldn't guarantee that the gift giver saw any posts about it. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, I think like.
Well, it's risky taking hints from someone that you know nothing about whether they knew where the cost was buried.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an interpretation steering you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
That may not even be.
I really don't think it was a hint, though. I really think it was just a way of like, look at these things. Yeah.
Make up your mind.
Yeah. Okay. Like we look at the paintings like they're seek and find picture books, right? Like find this little thing somewhere on the ground, where the gift giver was like, no, don't do it like that. Look at it a little differently.
Find the connection.
Yeah, look at it like the Boston Pops. Like the Boston Pops, it means something. It's interpretive. You would never find it on the ground, but it would help you in the treasure hunt. So look at the paintings like that.
Like, why is he holding the watch?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Well, I mentioned that.
Yeah, but it's a question you can't answer, right? Unless you're John. That's speculative. Yeah. Like, who knows?
He might not answer it.
Yeah,
he might not know.
Would anybody have come up with Boston Pops if he hadn't said that? Like, nobody.
He might not know what the watch means because he might be told to, draw the watch.
That's true.
Put a watch in.
Yeah, but I think he knows. But
hypnotist.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be as simple as he knows a certain number's got to be in every painting, and the easiest way to do it is with a watch. But it's weird that there's like a specific amount of images with watches and a specific amount of images without watches. It's just weird.
I have a thing to say, a couple of things on this sort of thing. I've got a suspicion, that there's arguments that the searchers have. Yeah, one is that at one end, John doesn't know anything. He knows his limited thing to the drawings and stuff like that, and he was just basically fed this just everything. Yeah, or he knows everything. Yeah, he was told a lot of stuff in detail by Byron Price. Yeah, or he was told some stuff by Byron Price, but other stuff he doesn't know. Right, yeah, I've got this inkling. Yeah. And it's like I say, just an inkling. Don't have to hold him to this. But I think one of the things that he said in his previous thing says that some of the things in the puzzles were they were either, I can't remember the exact wording, but they were like straightforward but complex. Okay, yeah. So there was like a straightforwardness to it, yeah. But there's complexity in how the straightforwardness is carried out, and that's the thing, yeah. Well, I think for certain things, he's been told the straightforward part, but he hasn't been told the complex part. So he kind of has he knows that there's an application of doing something in a certain way, but he doesn't necessarily know exactly how to do it. Right? Yeah. So I mean, he could go and work it out himself. He's got 40 years to do it. Yeah. Whether he does that or not, he's more he's more equipped for that than anyone else here, right? Yeah, so he may have worked out subsequently, but this means, right? Yeah, potentially, and this is this. So it doesn't blow my mind, but it's like kind of quite funny, yeah. This notion, yeah, is that it might be that he can be as just down the rabbit hole about certain parts of this puzzle than we all are. Yeah, he can go, oh, you know, he's worked out where something is, but he may have misapplied the rule or the thing that he was told because he doesn't know the complexity.
I would bet every single dollar that I have that John Palancar knows every single thing about these puzzles except where they're buried. Like, I bet he could get you to a park. I bet he could get you to the city, to the park, to the general area, but he would not be able to tell you where in that park to dig. Just because of the way, like, this, it would have had to have worked for this puzzle. Like, there's no way that these things could be as complex image-wise as Boston and like Chicago were if John didn't know a whole lot. There's no way if John didn't know a whole lot about this puzzle that he could ever reply to my email about Boston with the words, I knew it was in a ball field, but I didn't know which one. Right? So he's got to know the vast majority of the map, but whether or not he's going to tell you, that's a totally different story.
Exactly. Well, that's my point, isn't it? He knew there was in a ball field, but he couldn't tell you which one, which is my thing of the straightforward thing, ball field. Which one in all the many ones? Like I said, there's many, and there's a lot in all the parks in the States, I agree. But you know, there's cities, but there's many ballparks, so he doesn't know that complexity.
Yeah.
And he you know what? It could be that, say, for instance, he could be wrong in that if, say, for instance, I don't know, that like something was, say someone dug up a cask somewhere and they didn't want to, you know, and they didn't want to sort of like, because they were breaking the law, and so they're going to go, oh, yeah, I dug it up somewhere where it was like innocent. It wasn't in the, you know, in the park where the, you know, the rangers would find me like 10 grand or whatever, yeah. And he could be like, oh yeah, because I knew it was in, you know, somewhere that had like this pattern, but you know, so he could be wrong in a potential way.
We also talked about the signal flags and working them into the dress.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to find signal flags on Ironside? Then and now. That gives you a general area.
Yeah.
I think there are two reasons, two good reasons why he's not saying a lot. Three actually. One is it's a game, figure it out yourself.
One, yeah.
The second one is it's 40 years ago. I don't remember projects I did 40 years ago. And the third, I forgot.
I'll tell you one that's probably what you forgot. And I was talking to John Hardapy about it.
People don't bother him. That was the third.
Yeah.
Here's a fourth. I was talking to John Hardapy about the tribute because John Hardapy probably has the vast majority of the tribute solved. And he's not saying anything about it. And we talked about this recently. And we were asking each other's opinions. And I told him, I was like, I never want the tribute to be solved. Never. I never wanted to be solved. Because as long as the tribute's here, people are still talking about John, right? And it feels like John's not gone. Because people still have his name come up in conversation every day. They still focus on his work. And it's probably the same way with Palancar. As long as this puzzle's here, people still talk about Byron. People, his friend is still alive in consciousness. Or in people's consciousness, whatever. You know? The memory is, and it still probably feels like Byron's here. So I could see him never wanting this thing to end.
Good reason.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is that I have proposed that the gift giver is John Palancar. Now, with no certainty and no one making that claim that, you know, no confirmation of that. Okay, I understand that, yeah. But I definitely think it's him. Yeah, definitely.
I think we can do that.
yeah. I think it's him. He. So anyway, my point is that. Oh yeah, nice one. So my point is that when that poem came out, you know, the nudge poem, the gift giver poem sort of thing. Yeah, there was a bit in that thing that said, "Is anyone looking at these paintings properly?" Yeah. And when I read that bit, I was kind of a bit. That made me quite sad. That made me quite a little bit sad, because it meant that someone was like, it was sort of a little bit frustrated that after all this time people aren't looking at things properly, and it's like kind of there's like a mild frustration, so that might counterbalance the not wanting things. So it's like, come on, you're not looking at the paintings properly. So I would say I definitely am. I have, and I could if the gift giver was like here, I could go, here's my like little note card with like what not an essay. Oh yeah, but just like a little note card with like a paragraph on it saying, "This is what you meant." Yeah, and it would be, it would I would, I would pretty much, I would bet money that I'd be right. Yeah, but I would not be able to confirm that because I wouldn't ask for confirmation, and I wouldn't want to bother if it is John Pye. I wouldn't want to bother him. Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, so we're stuck in this impasse sort of thing where you go, no, honestly, if it is you, I do know, all right, but how the hell can I say? Because I can only say it publicly, but then if I, one of the things also, if it is John Palancar, and I do say, yeah, reveal that, and give like a good a proof that is like very convincing, yeah. First of all, he could say no, and that's not, and that that would be it, yeah. He could just deny it, even if it was right. The second thing is, um, I wouldn't want to get him into trouble in case it did, because it's not meant to give clues out, is he? I mean, he can and he does, sort of thing, yeah. But
He's not
no,
gonna get arrested or anything.
no, he's not going to get arrested. But I don't want him to get into any sort. If I could like avoid it. So
You don't want him to get any fines or any weird. He already can't do any more puzzle books, and
yeah, I don't want to give him grief, and you might be inadvertently giving him grief. So if it is him, you
There are
know.
two interviews. I think George posted the links to the interviews a couple of weeks ago, months ago. And in two interviews, he mentioned a quote by Einstein. I don't know it verbatim, but it's it basically is the most wonderful we can experience is the mysterious.
Hmm.
And because he is so convinced of that, and I really appreciate that, he's not going to give anybody hints on things that haven't been solved. He's prepared to talk about Boston to the person who sort of solved it. I heard that might be talking about Chicago to explain a few things.
Hmm.
He's not going to talk about any of the others because that goes against the experiencing the mysterious.
He has also gone like the Parliament's hand, and he has.
Just
I think
messing.
I think he has,
Same
and I
thing.
could give a good proof as to why he has. Yeah, I've seen the thing. Gone, oh, oh, John. If it is the gift giver, yeah. But that's not my point. Is that he definitely has been dangling stuff, and also here's another thing, right? Yeah, because
But he's also
Kit did a thing, didn't he, on his hands? Right, did the
the
bench
Muslim
thing.
people.
We made him do that.
Did he make him do it? Because I was going to say, oh, if they've said, you could do this, you can mess with the
It
people.
was
Here's how
Cole's
to do it.
idea. Blame Cole. Because
Was it really?
yeah, because Kit jumped on and we were just talking and he was doing this and Cole was like, "Draw something on your hand."
I'm suspicious of another thing. I think also Kit has inadvertently dropped stuff about the secret, but not necessarily because he knows, because his dad's talked to him about certain subjects and dropped it onto him, and it may have inadvertently dropped onto us by him talking about it. So he kind of like indirectly like giving us clues through his son, who might not even know that. Which is hilarious if it is true. But then again, this is all conjecture, so it's all fun conjecture.
I'll tell you this: I've hung out with Kit. I talk to Kit pretty damn regularly, and he has never said a single damn thing about the tribute. Like that family knows how to say things in a certain way, and they know how to keep a secret. Like John, he ain't gonna tell you anything, and he's just not. Like he's not gonna come right out and tell us. Like sometimes he says things that you can pick up on. But he's not going to come out and be like, that's in Montreal. He's not like, well, I guess he did do that. But he's not going to come out and, you know what I mean? He's not going to give you a direct hint.
Oh, no. One thing that I did possibly not is that isn't see one thing that you did is that you put the old Greg meme about, and I worked out what that was. I was like, why that? Because that's like a TV show from like 15 years ago that was popular, and I like this. Yeah, it's a meme now, but it's like it was like a. Pardon, sorry.
What was the old Greg meme?
Old Greg.
Oh, Greg.
It was a thing I did to promote Kit's interview.
Yeah. Why would you do that? Who knows? I will say, well, because I didn't work it out immediately, and the reason is because he's not. Well, you know, he's got the massive. He's got the moustache, hasn't he? That's why, wasn't it, George? Or you couldn't possibly say. You couldn't possibly say, could you? Yeah. You could do a panic car. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing also, right, is that on the kids stream, yeah. He. Sorry.
It's a cool sounding word. Sorry.
Okay, on kids stream, he did. He was talking about his. He's a fan of Counter-Strike, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. Yes, he's a fan of Half-Life Counter-Strike, the sort of game, and his paintings. What's that painting that he's been selling recently?
The teabag?
The teabag?
Or the rooster? Or the combination?
No. The first one, yeah.
The teabag.
The thing, yeah. So, and those two terms came up in the same stream.
Are we talking about teabagging?
Well, see, the thing is, yeah.
Teabagging.
That's it, yeah. So the thing is, yeah.
The rooster was cock. It was like the cock and the. It was Linda who was saying so that in one thing she never thought she'd be saying teabag cock.
Wow.
Never mind. I gotta explain it. It's not worth it.
Anyway, I thought that basically either, right, yeah. There's two possibilities. Number one, right, yeah. He painted a tea bag because it looked cool and he wanted to paint a tea bag, and then in his mind it stirred up memories of Counter-Strike, where he will have received or given the activity of pressing crouch lots on over people's faces, or he played Counter-Strike and that inspired him to paint the tea bag because he just the term was in his subconscious or maybe his conscious. So I thought, oh, that's a nice non-puzzle thing. But I noticed that link. I was like,
his dad paints tea bags too. I mean, he's a still.
I thought his dad did one first. It was like one of his earliest sketches or something, and then did it, and then it.
But with every clue where you think something is something, I always try to ask a question: was this put in deliberately? And with many things, I mean, I've gone down thousands of rabbit holes. Often the answer sort of turns out probably not. But there are those few things where you think of something and then you think, yeah, okay, I can see that be put in deliberately because it connects to that thing in the painting or connects to this first line. Or
yeah, every time, yeah.
Hey Simon, can I say something that will convince you that it's not John Palancar behind the gift giver account?
You could try. Go on.
Okay. John is a bit of a Luddite. Like he hates technology. He doesn't use Google Chrome. He doesn't use any Google software. He has a Mac that is just barely connected to the internet. Dude doesn't even have a smartphone.
That's like painting on the cave wall.
He's got a candy bar
on his hand.
Like when I met up with him at his gallery, he had to call home, and his phone, because it was so old, it didn't have service. I had to call his house for him from my phone. Like he abhors technology. He will not get on Facebook. He refuses to.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that the person that has that account, not John Palancar.
No, it's you.
That's not me.
Who does things for or another technical person.
It's not John Palancar. John Palancar didn't give you that hint.
Well, I think it is, yeah.
All right, that's cool.
Because, which is fine, yeah, and you can deny it, and he can deny it. That's fine. I'm not asking for confirmation, really, to be honest, yeah. But my only point was that I was a bit sad that that sort of like frustration from this person who said, is anyone looking at these paintings properly? And it's like I'd like to say there's no means for me to do it without telling everyone, and that actually jeopardizes one of the low. Well, no, what I say is the reason why I don't say a bunch of stuff is because it jeopardizes one of the casts. Because at the moment, that one of the casts I think is a low-hanging fruit in terms of getting it.
So
yeah,
you're gonna go get it?
Because Well, possibly. I mean, I'm freed up. But it would be I'd have to take a trip to America and stuff, and I think I'd like to do it with other people. But the point is, it's low hanging in terms of the other parks have become hostile and resistant for reasons that are obvious and also sort of reasonable. They're kind of pissed off, yeah. Whereas I think one of them is not as affected as much, and therefore you would be likely to step on people's toes, and therefore the thing is, though, if I do it, it'll become just as difficult in terms of extraction.
Well, let me ask you this, sort of in a non-confrontational. I'm not angry. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to pick a fight way.
No.
Do you not think it's unfair for you to be in the groups and to take in other people's information and to take in other people's conversations and not be willing to give anything back? Like to say, like, I have these ideas and I think they'll blow the whole puzzle wide open, but I ain't saying shit. Do you not think that's unfair?
My take in that is credit. I will give credit to people if I can. Yeah. If I can say this person's idea was, I saw this thing and they inspired me and stuff. Some of it is going to be in the realm of acknowledgements and stuff, and maybe retrospectively I can acquire, like things like, unfortunately, like things like Facebook posts in my collections and stuff have deleted and stuff. Things that I think might be interesting or good, I could then just go add it to my collection and go, oh yeah, no, that'll be, maybe that's useful. I'll credit that person, or they put me on a path to an idea that it's not right, but it led me to a thought process or whatever, yeah, or whatever, yeah. Some of those have gone because I go back to the posts and they're deleted. The posts are deleted, or maybe the person's banned from the group, maybe, or maybe they've blocked me. There's no reason to bomb me. And so I'd like to, and I will definitely, want to say these people have things. I put in the podcast. I've got all the timestamps of when people say things that I think are relevant and stuff. I went and noted down. Went and listened to the entire thing again. Did that. So I do want to credit people, but it's hard.
But is that the same? Isn't that a lot like a bunch of programmers using GitHub to work on a project, and then once they get all their project stuff together, somebody else comes, builds the program, and is like, thanks for these guys for coming up with all this source code for me. Isn't it better to contribute to the overall conversation? I mean, wouldn't it be the exact same if you gave somebody the answer and they were like, yeah, Simon gave me the answer and gave you the credit, right? If that's not something that would be okay for you, why is it okay for other people? And like I said, totally non-confrontational.
No. My thing is that it will endanger the casks. Some of them, well, I think it is. I mean, I know you've got no reason to believe me in that sort of thing, but I think some of them will be difficult to get to, or just near impossible because of reasons. Yeah, but some are doable, and you don't want someone just like raiding a park and then disappearing with it and it's screwed or whatever. If I've got a bit of control over trying to get these things, or at least maybe trying to get these. And also the thing is, it has to be a data dump of a dump of all the answers that I've got in one go, because otherwise people will then just work out what I've done anyway and just repeat it. And I go, I did realize that.
Oh, but if you have the cast in your hand, you've got the cast in your hand.
I've got two people. Start with Evie.
I was saying that, like, if you've got the cast in hand, I mean, you've got the cast in hand. You've retrieved the cast. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna go find one and not
say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because the whole thing is, I got the cast.
Yeah.
I mean.
Unless you're from France.
Yeah. Unless you're one of the ones that it's one of the ones. It's another thing is like if I can guarantee that someone who is like positive towards like the hunt and actually a person who's nice and who's going to be truthful and not do anything abusive, basically, that would be fine. But you can't have to guarantee that. I'm in a different continent. It's hard, and the other thing is, what was Arthur? What were you going to say?
Would you share the whole theory of how you found it? I mean, it doesn't have to be certain that was how it was put together, but it is absolutely certain that that's how you found it. Would you share the whole theory after you find the cask, or would you even sort of not share the theory?
Ultimately, in the end, yes, I think I would. Yeah.
What?
At the time of extraction of if I extracted gas, then that's an interesting question because again, you might want to like just keep certain forces at bay and go, well, you're not going to find out now. I'll tell it later, but at the moment, I just want to keep this from you, certain specific people, not you in the chat, but just certain specific people, and then like reveal it. And then when I'm a bit more, it's a bit safer to do so because people will just find out.
Legalities of where you got it from.
There's that as well. You might want to get away.
You know how much it's gonna suck for the next person that finds a cast, because like everybody in the community is gonna be like, it's a fake, or you cheated or lied, or oh god, like after the stuff that Krupat went through with Boston, it's gonna be crazy.
Well, also
I don't envy the next cast finder.
Well, San Francisco was obviously a fake.
Yeah.
That was not even. I don't even. That was just.
Well, we know what they look like now.
So, I got a comment in chat. I'd love to get all of your opinions on. It's from Mojo, who said, sharing ideas is not the issue. It's the community accepting them as credible. More often than not, new ideas never get any real traction and go to the wayside. What do you guys think of that? Just off the top of your head.
What I try to do usually is to either contribute something that adds to it, or maybe suggests an alternative, or say, oh yeah, I can understand this, or could you maybe explain that? And when I completely disagree with it, just not comment.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I think more what I was asking is, I think everybody that's in this chat has credibility within this hunt in some fashion. Maybe not within the whole hunt, but in some microcosm of the hunt, you have a decent amount of credibility. How did you, coming in as new members, sort of rise, and how did you make your ideas stand out? What I see most often is somebody makes a post about X, and then all of the comments are, it's not X because my idea is Y. And no conversation ever happens. It's just a bunch of people saying, no, your idea sucks. My idea is better. I was curious how each of you gained your credibility.
One thought would be, what you often see is a complete theory in a PDF put on there as in, this is it, or this is what I think it is.
Yeah.
And I think what would be nice is if it's cut up in pieces and you just try out one part of a theory, because then you leave open different interpretations of that one detail.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you talk about less, there's less to argue about.
Yeah. Like if you
It's
go...
easy to say, oh, I don't believe the entire theory because over there it just sort of ends up in a rabbit hole. But if it's just one part, as in, I think this is sympathetic, or I think that has some value, like I was talking about origins. I'm not saying that is it. I'm just saying, it's interesting to look at. And then you say, oh yeah, okay, I can try out that thought experiment.
Yeah. I think
that's a constructive way.
Yeah, phrasing your ideas as thought experiments would be a good idea too. Like, imagine X is true. Let's work from there. And then you're always going to have assholes that come in and comment. Just ignore them. Like, don't respond. I'm sorry?
That's how math works.
Oh, I thought you said that's how Matt works.
No. No, as in, you take an X is true, then you have a formula, you get that.
Yeah.
Let's assume this is true and we have that thought pattern, because the pattern of thought can be applied to something else for someone else, maybe even in a different city.
Yeah. I mean, even if you can get a conversation, like a post going with just one other commenter. Say you got 20 commenters and 19 of them are assholes, and you're just ignoring them and not feeding them at all. And you can have an interesting conversation with just one person. More helpful people are going to get interested in that conversation, and they're going to come in as well. I think like one of the biggest hindrances in this hunt is assholes, and it's hard to it's hard to police assholes. You know, you just kind of got to ignore them, and once you ignore them, the hunt becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I want to put people in corners a lot because some people just get so like I don't know if I'd say I have credibility, but I always do my squirrel brain disclaimer because I have ideas that are the standard ones, and then I'll see something that's like, well, because depending when you grew up, different phrases were used, or different, like Nostradamus was huge, 70s and 80s, or
Oh yeah.
I mean, this whole thing could just be based on all the different Nostradamus theories. Who knows? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying. But I mean, there's no reason to attack people. But there's also no reason to do a post where, hey, here. And then there's no explanation. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, if I can't try to come up, figure out what you're saying, it's pretty bad because my brain just goes
Well,
and attacks everything. So it's like, be nice. If you notice, if you don't like somebody's idea, question it. Don't be like, it's like you said, Jim, it's here because that's where I say it is. But there's no reason to be nasty to anyone.
yeah. Piggybacking off of what you said, Matthew Wood made a comment that said, good enough is not good enough. If a theory has gaps, do more research to either close the gaps or realize a misinterpretation. But there's a third option there, and it's just saying, I don't know. Right?
Yeah,
If you come to a part in the verse you don't understand, I don't know is a valid answer. Like, what is 10 by 13 in Chicago? I don't know.
130.
It's solved. Who cares?
One of the things that I just Arthur said, and just this is a thing that you'll like, Arthur. All my notions and stuff that I've got in my documentation of like what I think answers for things are, they've all got codes, so that anyone when I do publish them eventually, hopefully, yeah, people can go. I can go. I don't agree with this one, and they can supply the code, and you'll know exactly which verse line, which aspect of that verse line I'm talking about. They can criticize, and they're welcome to criticize me as much as they want about that sort of stuff. But it's all sort of like kind of like these things, and also my confidence with like yeah. I mean, you were saying about if you don't know something, yeah, you can say I think this might be an answer, but I'm not that infused about that level, my confidence in that answer.
Right, but we're talking
It
about
might work as a
at this point we're talking about like imaginary thing that we can't comment on because we don't know any of it. You're just telling us stuff that we have to take at face value, and it's difficult. That as soon as you say something like that, the conversation kind of ends because we don't have anything to springboard off of, right? We're just talking about whatever. We don't know what the ideas are. We're just talking about a method in case they're correct. It's hard. It's hard to have a conversation about that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Some people are better at documenting than others. Like what Sunday's been posting with. I mean, I'm just like I've just got notes and crap everywhere. These Sunday and other people that have they've got screenshot with this full nice detailed paragraph and maps and it's just all superbly laid out. And I just go. Yeah, I'll just record myself going, oh, this is what led me here, and I took this as this. And look, guys, there it is in the hole. That would be my thing. And if I ever do find one, I'm just going to give credit to everybody because it all goes in here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep track of where I got the idea from, but everybody.
Those big, complicated things is what tends to tie people down because you start reading these PDFs and there's like, good idea, good idea, good idea. Right. And then janky, weird thing where you can tell they're just trying to make this thing fit. Where if they just said, I don't know, you would skip right over it. Go to the next good thing. You know what I'm saying? You get lost when you just try to make shit fit. I don't know.
Anyway. I like that.
Making shit fit is how you do it.
No, it's not. Making shit fit is not how you do it. Finding what fits is how you do it.
Yeah, but you have to. But the thing is, it's like I've had answers that I've produced, or come up with, where you go, oh, okay, here's this thing, here's one of the verse lines I described as whatever, this seems to fit, but I don't have a great. I have some logic as to why it would be there, but it doesn't really leap out. This is a candidate for like a thing, and it's a working. You then go from puzzle to puzzle, and you come back and stuff like that. But then at some point, you would find an alternate which fits better. And you go, oh, okay, I can discard the third. Or I have, I think my one was Friendship South, which I had a working place thing. And then I found supporting evidence for that being correct and like an epiphany that it was, really locked in. And I was like, oh, okay, because you do base it on some sorts of logic, but you might, you can get a feeling that some things might be right, as long as you're honest and go, not, be honest with yourself as to how good that answer is. But you can definitely have like working place things. If you publish it in a PDF, then people are going to be, like, why, like you said, why have you got this work in progress sort of thing in there?
But it's a
Just be
nice
honest about it and be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you won't find anything.
it's a
But
nice
it's
suggestion.
better than trying to, if I gave you guys, oh look guys, I dug up a cast, figure out my notes yourself. If I could manage to do an organized, there's a nice organized, that might be their way of keeping track of it. Or whereas some of us it's not, but again, like you said, you don't need to have that fully complicated thing to post, but a nice thing can be good and helpful though too. But
Yeah,
overall,
chop
you
it up.
don't have to be an asshole to somebody. Ignore if you don't like what they're saying, move on. And if you're gonna post, make a somewhat clear, complete sentence thought. Because there have been some where it's like basically one word thing. You're like,
Squirrel.
Something you said, Simon, really fits with what George said. George said, try to find it, try to discover it. And if you say you have a theory where you're sort of convinced this is probably connected to that physical location or thing, and that three verse lines down is connected to that, but in the middle I'm not sure. That you sort of put something there and maybe even put the word placeholder there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe you'll find a picture of 1982 or 1981 that gives you a new clue as an okay, that could be this, or maybe it's just a little bit over, but it's in between these two spaces. Another thing, what George said reminded me of. I once saw in a television show. It was like a detective in a police show, and they were talking. Yeah, we are establishing a pattern of behavior, and the response was, do not establish a pattern of behavior. Try to discover the one that is there.
Yep.
As in, don't try to make it the pattern fit, but see what the pattern is. And maybe it's a little different than you sort of see with other detective cases.
And that makes people lose me a lot, because we have a pattern now. 1/4 of these have been solved, and I could take Joe Blow off the street and explain to him how each of these were solved, and him understand them with a single book and 5 minutes of my time. And if any of the other puzzles requires more than that, much more than that, I will say some of them probably do require more than that. But if they require
So.
much more than that, they're probably trying to fit an idea into the puzzle instead of trying to figure out what the puzzle's trying to tell them.
It's a little similar to people keep saying KISS, keep it simple, stupid. But it's more when you're creating something, as in try to not make it too complicated.
Right.
But it's possible that these things have an uncomplicatedness to them, but it is very complicated to discover what that is. Because it's put up like that, it's treasure hunt. But I think if once you find something that sort of fits, that is not too complex, not too complicated, that's a good sign that it may actually be something that was intended.
It's a balance though. It's like, do you be reductionist and have too little, or do you go over complex? And I think it's like
you
have to just try both.
No, you be a reductionist.
Try both.
Because the
Try
more
both.
you add, the more likely you're adding it for you. The less
But
you need, the more likely.
But those things you add can sometimes yield a result, even if they're not, even if they're right, either that, or they lead to you thinking differently.
Right.
If you don't if you don't try stuff,
But that, Simon, requires conversation.
Yeah, well, maybe. You say that, yeah.
Right. Golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated. But also remember that there was not the internet back then, and we all had to read crap in books.
Yeah.
And public education was what most people had, and it was not exactly detailed.
Guys, it's like 10:06, so we're gonna have to shut down soon, or Rachel's gonna yell at me. And
Rachel loves me.
Yes, she does.
Just saying.
She's talking about doing some new stream with Caroline about food. I don't even know. Like they're going nuts.
I think it's more like the land of Eve's broken appliances since we moved into this new house and breaking half my crown off, and then 3 days later, a 16-year-old sideswiping my car in the Myers parking lot when my car was parked at like 1 mile an hour.
Does anybody have anything else they want to add before?
Thank you for letting me participate. It was fun.
I want to try.
Thank you for.
Go ahead.
Thank you for tolerating me.
You're welcome. Eve?
Are you in England?
Yes.
Okay, so it's late for you too.
Yeah.
It's like 3 o'clock or something.
Thank you guys. Thank you all for coming on. Arthur, Simon, Evie, you've all added so much to the community. And I know Simon and Arthur, Arthur's like 3 o'clock in the morning for you, right?
4.
Yeah, it's 3 now for me. Yeah.
Thank you
For
so
him it's 3,
much.
for me it's 4.
Thank you so much for coming in and just talking with everybody.
It was fun. Thank you.
You guys have a good night. I'm going to end the stream.
You
Later,
too.
everybody. As soon as I can find my mouse.